Self-defence classes have been around for years now, but in recent times more and more women are attending them, and Self-Defence Ireland is one of those groups providing the classes, and one of its trainers, Mick O'Brien, joins me now in studio. Mick, you're very welcome.
Good morning, Joe.
And a bit about your own background, Mick. Tell us what you were up to and tell us how you got into this.
Yeah, sure. I've been around martial arts throughout my entire life. I started my career very early with boxing. I joined the Defence Forces then when I was 17. I continued on my career in the Defence Forces and became a military unarmed combat instructor when I was 22. So I've always been dabbling in and out of martial arts. It's never really left me. It's always been a part of me. Through internet research then, by training with a lot of different organisations and different people, I soon started to discover that a lot of people were using the same psychology and teaching the same material. So through internet research, I tracked down the source of the material and the source of the psychology, and it brought me to a young Canadian guy called Richard Dimitri in Montreal in Canada, who had developed a system in 1994 called Senshido. I contacted Richard. I told him I admired his work. We built up a relationship online, and I told him that I wanted to become one of his instructors. I discovered Richard had established an international worldwide team. He had instructors throughout the world, and I wanted to be part of it. And more or less there and then I became an apprentice Senshido international instructor. Last year I was fully certified as an instructor, and I'm the Irish representative at the moment.
And what is it about Senshido that attracted you to it? How different is it to other types of self-defence? Other
self-defences I found, and again, John, this is personal opinion, I found that they were putting fancy wrapping paper on violence. They were not portraying violence for what it actually was, and they weren't training people to deal with violence for what it actually was. I done a short study myself, a short little exercise, and I put myself in the mind frame where, like everybody else, I decided that I wanted to learn how to protect myself. Everybody at some stage in their life decides that they want to learn how to protect themselves, be it an incident that's happened to them, one of their loved ones, one of their family or friends, or something that they've seen online or witnessed. Everybody at some stage in their life decides that they want to learn to protect themselves. So I put myself into that position and I became vulnerable. I went online and I typed in self-defence in Ireland, and what was showing up I shortlisted, and then I went in and researched it, and I soon discovered, and this was coming from a guy who was an experienced martial artist, so I soon discovered that what I was seeing was every instructor had a different perception of violence. And what I was seeing was all this clean-cut, choreographed self-defence being sold to people, and people were going to buy into it. People don't want to get down to the nitty-gritty, hands-dirty. They want to see some guy attacks me with a knife, and 10 seconds later I take the knife off him and I carve my email address into him with it. So the training was never matching the reality for me. I'd worked as a nightclub doorman for 15 years. I've witnessed my fair share. I've been involved in my fair share. And what I was seeing was never matching reality. The only system that I seen, system as such, was Senshido. They were just focusing on reality all the time. And
Mick, you now have programmes tailored for women. Are they popular?
We get a lot of women, because the different types of women that we get women that, something has already happened to them and they never want it to happen again. They've witnessed something, and they want to put a system in place to protect them. The class is normally 50-50 men and women. It's a mixture of both that's attracted to us. But then again, if I don't put a lot of training videos up online, because if people look at the training videos, it just replicates pure violence. It shows it for what it actually is, and it can be sometimes scary to people. But what you got to remember is all that's seen is a 30-second clip. It's when we actually get them down to the class, then they start to understand.
Well, our reporter Colin Flynn went along to one of your classes over the weekend, and he talked to some of the women taking part, and he also recorded some of the role plays the participants were acting out.
Watch where you're going, pal.
What do you mean, watch where I was going? Boy, what are you gonna do about it?
Watch where you're walking.
What are you gonna do about it?
Just watch where you're walking in future. There's other people in the club, it's not only you.
Who says?
I says, right? Look, there's a room full of people and you're banging to me. What's your problem?
What do you mean? What do you mean, what's my problem?
What is your problem?
What's your name?
Kathy.
Where are you from, Kathy?
I'm from Tala.
Well, what kind of things did they train you for? For real life, basically. In some martial arts that I've done before, there was a tendency to go very easy on women, and the attitude was, oh, they're not as strong and they're not as capable. They don't do that here, because it's not going to happen like that on the street. So it's not going to happen like that in training.
You and your mates sitting there looking at all of us. What's going on?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you.
Well, you're been sitting there looking at us, so what's the story like?
At the time I started, I was a single mother with 2 small kids, and I have 2 girls, so protecting my 2 girls and living on my own, safety was always a worry.
And what age are your girls?
They are now 13 and 11.
Okay, have they ever tried these classes?
They're too young to do these classes, but they do get help from Mammy at home.
What do you teach them?
I teach them basic things. I teach them things like in the shredder. There's eye gouging, there's scratching, there's pulling hair, there's pulling...
What's the shredder?
The shredder, it's my go-to move. It's my get me out of trouble move. We like to call it the predator on your face, because the hand goes up and you're gouging eyes, you're scratching, you're pulling hair, you're pulling faces, and if anybody attacks me, he's going to be saying he's going to have cut marks all over him, and then when I go to report it to the Garda station, I hold up my hand and say, there's his face, because it will be hanging off the end of my nails.
So we're standing right outside the class here, and you're about to show me the shredder. So let's say I've come up to you, I'm being aggressive.
Well, I would try to de-escalate the situation, but if that didn't work and you were too close to me, I would try not to react and not to give you what you need to kick off with your first place. But if we bypassed all of that and you were still being a trap, I'm just going to go.
So you have to grab me in my face, I can feel your finger up my nose and your nails in my face, and I'm kneeling down on the ground and you have my head leaned back.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
This would do the trick, I think.
I think so, and by the time you get up off the ground, I'm in my carry-on.
Because we said that, 60% of all altercations is psychological. 20% is emotional and 10% is physical. Yeah? It's the emotional aspect that a lot of people don't train for. And
What's your name?
Jackie Crinion.
Jackie, where are you from?
Navan.
When did you start going to the classes?
It's over a year now, I'd say. It's in January of last year I started. I just had an interest in it, so I did. And I actually seen on Facebook, I seen a video of a boy who was stabbed on a night out. There was 2 boys, and obviously it was late in the night, and obviously they're on their way home, and they were just sitting having a chat, and there was 3 other lads just walking down the street, and all of a sudden one of them just peeled off, just started attacking him, and that was it, over. One stab is all it took. He died from 1 stab to the heart, and happened so fast.
So this drill is just, Derek is going to be extremely aggressive or violent towards, we use Sarah here, yeah?
Mick is just going through parts of your body that you can use to fight back, starting with your head, your mouth for biting or spitting. He'll move down then to elbows, forearms. We'll go through fingers. Your hands are your biggest weapons.
And where would you bite if you were going to bite?
That's another thing, opportunity strike, and you just bite wherever you get the opportunity. If there's an arm in front of you, just anything, just bite.
So Derek will start with psychological. He'll make eye contact.
What's your name?
My name is Linda.
And where are you from, Linda?
I'm from Kilkenny originally, just there in February, should I say. I went to Carnival with a group of friends, and was out for a few drinks, and a guy went to put me in a headlock and went to steal my money, And
how did it happen? Did he just appear out of nowhere, or was he with you for the night?
He was similar scenarios to what we practice here. He was hanging around for a while, and he was watching what we were drinking and where our money was, and that's the reason why he'd attacked. So. Yeah.
And did he get your money in the end?
No, he didn't get my money in the end. I ended up leaving him on the ground and getting a facial injury, because he went to bite me in the face, and he had braces. So
he tried to bite you in the face?
He tried to bite me in the face, yes. So yeah, I used some of my skills that I had learned here in the class.
So what did you do, Linda?
I shoved my hand into his, when I felt the headlock coming on, obviously, for a few seconds you're like, whoa, is this actually happening? And then shoved my fingers into his eyes, grabbed him by the privates, left him on the ground.
And how did you feel after doing that?
I suppose I was in a little bit of shock because I wasn't expecting the attack to come on. It's not about beating up people, these classes or that. It's just to give you, I suppose, the essential tools to combat the situation that I was stuck in, unfortunately, in Rio. So, yeah.
And please God it never happens again to you.
Please God it never happens again. But an attack only happens, literally, it feels like forever, but it only happens a couple of seconds. So you have to be able to react to what's happening, or else you're going to get seriously injured.
Yes, some very interesting testimony there where Mick O'Brien from Self Protection Ireland is still with us, and we heard the women there talking about gouging, about grabbing the guy by the privates, about biting and spitting. Are these all essential tools for women, we say, when it comes to self-defence?
Of course, what you got to remember is Senshido teaches survival. That's what we're about. We're a lot more than just self-defence. We teach survival. We also delve into the psychological triggers of violence. We look at breaking down the ego and setting a foundation for the comprehensive transformation of a person. So in essence, we teach survival, self-development, and using self-defence as the vessel to deliver their message. So we're not teaching people how to go out there in a ring and win a boxing match or win a competition. We're teaching people how to actually survive a violent encounter. And anything that they have to use as a weapon, but we teach them to use it, because that's what stands between those women being a statistic, or those women getting home safe to their family. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day, you getting home safe. We didn't ask to be attacked. You know, those women there, the girl that you heard from while she was on holidays, she didn't ask for the guy to come up and try and put her in a headlock and choke her to death. She didn't ask for that. She was there on holidays enjoying herself. A guy came up, he attacked her, physical contact was made, and this is what we instill into them. Once physical contact is made, you must be engaged in hurting your opponent and changing his mindset from predator to prey. Attack the attacker.
But if he's armed with a knife or a gun, what do you do?
Every single attack is different. Every situation is different. For me to sit here and say, oh, if he held a gun to me head, I do this and I do that. We don't know, because you don't know the circumstances. There's only two safe assumptions you can ever make there on the street. One is that he's armed, and two is that there's more of them. So every altercation, be it physical, verbal, always has the tendency, always has the potential to be a knife attack. And this is what we train people for. Once physical contact is made, you must be engaged in hurting your opponent, creating distance, because distance creates opportunity, and you need to escape.
But is there not a danger that if you meet fire with fire, in other words, if he gets you in a headlock or, he pulls you down, that if you respond by gouging or biting or spitting, that it's only going to make things worse?
Well, let's rewind back a small bit, John, because the very first thing that we teach any of our students, well, first off, we imprint the survivor's mindset into them. A lot of people live in apathy and denial, and some of it is starting to pop in here. People live in apathy and denial. They say that, I live in a nice neighbourhood, this will never happen to me, or my husband will protect me, or every time I go out walking or running, I've got a big dog with me, or I've got house alarms. That's living in apathy. And then the denial starts, because when it does happen to them, it's, I can't believe this is actually happening to me, or I can't believe that did happen to me. So this is what we look at. We start to develop the survivor's mindset, and bottom line is what we imprint into everybody's head is everybody is important. They're important to somebody. They're somebody's daughter, they're somebody's wife, they're somebody's mother, they're somebody's auntie. Everybody is important. When somebody attacks you, then it's not just an attack on you, it's an attack on your entire family, because everything has a massive big ripple effect. You get hurt tomorrow, John, you can't pay a mortgage, you're out on the street, your family starts to break up, your kids start to suffer. It's a massive big ripple effect on your entire family, and this is what we instill into people. This is developing a survivor's mindset. Everybody has the right to defend themselves.
I'm just wondering, Mick, do a lot of the people who come to you for instruction, have they already suffered at the hands of an attacker?
Some have, some haven't. We get a big mixture there at the classes. Some people just come because they're curious, they're interested, they've seen something on Facebook. Some people, we do have an element that train with us regularly, and they're a mixture of people that has been doing something before and just wanted to take it to the next level, and and there's also just total beginners there. But where we move from there is our big emphasis is on avoidance. The last thing we want to do is be involved in a physical altercation, because once it gets physical, it's getting extremely messy. Regardless of what you see there on YouTube, it's getting extremely messy. So we instill avoidance through awareness and intuition. Next step, there's 3 steps to self-defense. Step 1 is avoidance through awareness and intuition. Step 2 is diffusion, to be able to verbally diffuse a situation. We call it tactical de-escalation, using different formulas and strategies to diffuse a situation, feed into a guy's ego, not damage his ego or a girl's ego. We all know the most fragile thing in this planet is your ego, especially a male ego. And you take male ego, alcohol and women, and now you've got a big problem. Yeah? So this is what we teach them. Verbally diffuse the situation, but at the same time, load the dice in your favour that if this gets physical, well, you've got to get out of this. And then the last phase is physical contact. And once physical contact is made, well, there's no holds barred. To answer your question, and this is something that is instilled into a lot of women through, I don't know where, if I attack his eyes and I, gouge into him, it's going to make things worse. There's 2 vulnerable parts of the body, the eyes and the throat. They're the only 2 parts of the body where if you attack them immediately, it will force your attacker to defend himself. You can strike somebody into the groin, you can strike him into the head, he'll keep coming. You attack his eyes, you attack his throat, he will immediately start defending himself, and that's what we're looking for. Change his mindset from predator to prey, create distance for you to escape and get home safe.
Well, thanks for the insight into self-defence this morning. That's Mick O'Brien from Self Protection Ireland. And if people want to get in touch about the classes, where do they go? It's
up on the website there, selfprotection.ie, and also check us out on Facebook, Twitter, all the usual social media sites. We're on them all.
Mick, thanks very much for coming in this morning.
Gentlemen, thanks a million.
Text 51551. The John Murray Show on RTE Radio 1.
On June 5th, the internationally acclaimed Irish mezzo-soprano Tara Iraq